You hear an explanation. It sounds clear, simple, elegant. The pieces seem to fit together. You nod. Yes, that makes sense. The explanation feels satisfying. Everything appears organized. The confusion disappears. So you stop searching. You stop questioning. The idea feels settled. The explanation seems complete. You repeat it to someone else. It still sounds convincing. The structure feels solid. But later, something strange happens. You encounter a situation where the explanation no longer works. A detail does not fit. An example contradicts the rule. The explanation was clear, but the understanding was fragile. Good explanations are supposed to help learning. Teachers are encouraged to explain things clearly. Clarity reduces confusion. Clarity helps people understand faster. Learning is often imagined like this. The clearer the explanation, the easier the understanding. This seems obvious, but something important is missing. Clarity can also end exploration too early. Think about explanations that once felt perfect. They seemed obvious. So obvious that questioning stopped. The explanation felt complete. But later you encounter a new example. A case the explanation cannot explain. Suddenly the structure feels unstable. The explanation did not reveal the whole pattern. It stabilized one interpretation too quickly. Clarity appeared, but understanding did not deepen. Explanations do more than add information. They guide interpretation. A good explanation highlights one structure. It organizes the available pieces. The mind quickly stabilizes around that structure. Alternative interpretations fade. Exploration slows. Meaning appears settled. But the structure may still be incomplete. The explanation stabilized interpretation before competition finished. A good explanation can stabilize interpretation too early. Why can explanations create misunderstanding? Because explanations influence how interpretation stabilizes. Narrative closure. Clear explanations form a coherent story. The pieces appear to fit together. Once the story feels complete, the mind stops searching for alternatives. Exploration quietly ends. Cognitive ease. Simple explanations reduce mental effort. They are easy to process. They feel satisfying. The brain prefers interpretations that feel smooth and effortless. So the explanation becomes convincing very quickly. Interpretive anchoring. The first convincing explanation becomes a reference point. New information is interpreted through that frame. Alternative interpretations struggle to appear. The explanation quietly becomes the lens through which the situation is understood. Good explanations are powerful. They organize information. They reduce confusion. They accelerate learning. But they also carry a risk. Clarity can appear before understanding is complete. Interpretation stabilizes too early. The explanation feels right, so alternative interpretations never compete. This pattern appears in many places, wherever explanations shape interpretation. Education. Students often receive clear explanations from teachers. The rule sounds simple. The example seems obvious. The explanation feels complete. So exploration stops. But when a new problem appears, the rule no longer fits. The explanation stabilized interpretation too quickly. The deeper structure was never explored. Public narratives. Complex events are often explained through simple stories. The story organizes scattered facts. It feels coherent, so interpretation stabilizes across many people. Alternative explanations disappear. The narrative spreads easily. Clarity spreads with it. Understanding does not necessarily follow. Everyday reasoning. In daily life, we often accept the first explanation that feels convincing. It organizes events into a clear story. The mind relaxes. The situation feels resolved. But later, new information appears. A missing detail, a different perspective. And suddenly, the original explanation feels incomplete. Science history. Many scientific theories begin as elegant explanations. They organize complex observations into a clear structure. The explanation feels powerful. It makes the world appear understandable. So the interpretation stabilizes. Scientists begin to see new observations through the same explanation. For a time, everything seems to fit. But eventually, anomalies appear, small observations that do not match the model. At first, they are ignored or explained away. The explanation still feels convincing. But slowly, the anomalies accumulate. Eventually, the interpretation must reopen, and a new explanation stabilizes in its place. We often assume better explanations produce better understanding, but explanations do more than describe reality. They shape interpretation. A clear explanation can end exploration. Meaning stabilizes quickly, sometimes too quickly. Understanding requires stabilization, but it also requires time for interpretations to compete. When clarity arrives too early, misunderstanding becomes stable.